Hey guys, welcome back. This is Samara from coachingconsciouscreators.com, and today I want to talk to you about something I think is so important. Like, the video I'm about to make for you guys is going to be a lifeline as you go through your manifestation journey. And it is about the very common darkness before the dawn when you're trying to manifest really big things, like things in your mind that are big. And all that really means, because the truth is, manifesting a penny is the same as manifesting $10 million. The only difference between the two is the amount of resistance we have to them. For example, we think that it's easy to find a penny. Pennies are everywhere, and so of course we're going to find lots of pennies. But we think it's difficult to come across $10 million. Therefore, we put barriers in our own way as we move closer to realizing that type of manifestation. So this video is all about the pattern that you'll see that could cause you to get discouraged and manifest even more resistance if you don't know what to expect. So the darkness before the dawn is a period just before your manifestation comes into the 3D, where it seems like it is more impossible than ever. The tricky thing about the darkness before the dawn is, right before it comes, you've received a whole slew of synchronicities and signs that your manifestation is on its way, that it is specifically tailored for you, and that you are going to receive it. And then all of a sudden, all of that subconscious doubt and resistance comes up and creates a wall that looks impenetrable. I'm going to give you guys examples. I have several examples. All of my big manifestations went through this process. The first was the house that I live in now. I've been there for 12 years. It was a big deal to me. I had never purchased a home before. At the time, I was not practicing deliberate manifestation, but I did make the decision that I wanted to own a home. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was alone, and I was very young. But I found this house, and as soon as I saw it, it had met all the criteria that I listed. I mean, I had spent hours and hours searching. Anyway, I knew it was for me. And when I walked through the door, I was even more sure. And I told the agent that was showing the home, this is my home. Now, I was completely inexperienced. I made a bunch of poor decisions, like using the seller's agent to go through the process of buying the home. I didn't negotiate the price, like all these mistakes that I made. And right before we were about to go in and close the deal, all this stuff came up. Like, all these issues came up where the seller just didn't want to sell to me, or the agent didn't want to list the house as pending. Like, all these difficulties popped up. And then once I crossed those last few hurdles, the house was mine. But for a period, it seemed like it wasn't. The other two examples that I have are when I manifested the car that I'm driving right now. So I wanted this car, and I knew how much this car cost, and I knew that I couldn't afford it. At the time, I had a reasonably priced vehicle that I liked, but it was giving me trouble. And I asked myself what car I really wanted next. And when it comes to manifestation, I think it's important to ask for what we truly want. And so when I thought about what I truly wanted versus what might be practical, I wanted this car. There was no way I could afford it. And so I just every day would imagine, you know, the logo of this car on the logo of the car that I was driving at that time. And I would notice the car on the road and just, you know, casually think about having it. So one day I got the hunch to go to the dealership. It was the end of the year. I said, well, maybe they have some sales going on. They're trying to move things off the lot. And so I get there, and of course they have a sale running on a car I don't want. And I'm thinking it's my only option because they had made it affordable. And so the salesman happened to ask me what it was I was really looking for, and I told him, and he says, oh no, we don't have anything in your price range in that model. And he's scrolling through the screen, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait a minute, we just had one come in yesterday. This car was 5 years old, I think. Yes, 5 years old. Only had 40,000 miles on it. Looked brand new, smelled brand new. Somebody had kept this car in pristine condition. And, excuse my map. And because it was a used car, it was in my price range, and my payment ended up being the same as my old Mazda. But the darkness before the dawn in that case was, I'm sitting there with the finance guy,
and he's going through all the finance options, and he's telling me about these ridiculous interest rates, and he's saying, this is the best I can do for you. This is the best I can do for you. We sat there for an hour. Y'all are gonna hear my map again. Sorry, I didn't turn it off before I started the video. But we sat there for about an hour going back and forth, and I was like, I really want this car. And they were like, we really want to sell it to you. And it just seemed like it wasn't going to happen because the payment plans or, you know, the financing options that they were offering me just didn't work. And then it just occurred to me as I'm sitting there disappointed. Kids have been there all day with me, test driving all these cars. We're tired. I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't going to happen. But if I leave this car here in this condition at this price, it's not going to be here 2 days from now, even if I figure something out. So I stayed there, tried to figure it out, and it occurred to me to say, hey, well, I financed my current car through my credit union. Can you just check with that particular bank? And so he ran the numbers again, and the interest rate came out to be exactly what I needed to be able to afford the car easily. Like I said, my payment was exactly the same as before, and this car is a much better car. So anyway, that was the darkness before the dawn in that case. The other situation was when I manifested my trip to Disney. I have another video all about how that happened, so I won't go into too much detail. But I will say I was stranded in Orlando when it flooded here in my hometown for a business trip. So I ended up going to Orlando for free. And I checked Disney's hours since I had it on my vision board. I was like, well, let me see if there's an opportunity for me to have this experience, even though in my mind it was going to be a totally different way with my kids and all that. And I checked, and it closed at 9, and it was already late in the evening. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make it. So I'm disappointed. I kind of let it go. I'm like, it's impossible. Darkness before the dawn. And clearly the universe had worked it out, so I was there to go to Disneyland, because it really wasn't, my map again, it really wasn't that important for me to be in Florida for that meeting. Anyway, something told me, go back and look again. And this is like an hour later. And so I go and look again, and I see a little bitty link that says special events. I click on it that particular day, and that day only for the rest of 2019 into 2020, there was an after hours event from 9 p.m. to midnight. And I didn't have to catch my flight out. There wasn't another flight out till the morning. So I had the opportunity to experience Disney like a big kid, no waits in line. I mean, not even on Space Mountain. Anyway, the darkness before the dawn in that case was it looking like it just wasn't going to work out as far as timing and me accepting that and then getting a hunch. So what happens is all the things line up. You know you found what you're looking for, right? You know you're in a position to receive your manifestation. And then it seems impossible all of a sudden. And one explanation that another YouTuber had about this was it's all of our subconscious resistance to the idea that we could even have what it is that we want that are coming up in that last minute. And even though we are on a direct path to realizing our manifestation, we have to go through this when we're trying to manifest things that we have a lot of resistance around, or that seem like a big deal to us, seem like there's something hard. So if you are in this situation right now, if you are seeing all the signs, everything is lining up, it looks like you're headed directly toward a big manifestation, a relationship, a house, a large sum of money, a new job. Even with my new job, I forgot about that one. Understand that at some point, if you had a lot of underlying resistance, it's going to seem impossible. You're going to be really close, and then something's going to come up, and it's going to seem impossible. And what I'm saying to you may be a manifestation in itself. So if this is not your experience, just stop listening now. Don't manifest it. But a lot of us do experience this, and unless we've experienced it several times, like I have and lots of other people who do conscious manifestation have, we don't know what it is, and we really feel like, you know, we have the worst luck in the world. But just like we're bringing that manifestation into reality, we are bringing those blockages into the manifestation process. And so now what I do when I run into that wall just before realizing my manifestation is detach. Not detach from the desire, but just relax deeply. Like distract myself. Do whatever it takes to feel happy, and like completely distract myself from whatever it is that is coming. Because I know it's coming. And if I spend too much time dwelling on what appears to be a solid wall between me and what I want, maybe, I haven't ever done it, but maybe I could manifest enough new resistance to push the manifestation away. That's never happened, but you know, it's just unpleasant to feel all of that anxiety when you're so close to what you want and it seems like there's a blockage. I'll tell you guys one more story with my new job. Actually, I have 2 stories about that. I need to do a separate video on that. But I had asked for very specific circumstances around my new job that I was trying to manifest. And I was getting all these interviews, and all this interest in those interviews would fall apart at the last moment. And I figured out that that was because they didn't fit the criteria that I listed out. And the universe was like, wait, I got something for you. But anyway, just as I was coming up on getting my new job, there were so many things that just didn't feel right. I was like, this isn't right. You know, they didn't do a drug test. So I was like, that's gonna delay things, because I know they need to do that. And there were some issues around the information that I submitted for my insurance. Like, there were just all these things, delays, and it just all felt like it wasn't really gonna happen. So I refused to get excited, and that's typically what I do to keep myself from torturing myself. But we overcame those last little few obstacles, because before that, everything was so easy. That's the other part. You get all these synchronicities, things move so fast, everything falls into place easily, and then bam, there's the wall in your face. Like, oh, you thought you were about to get that, but look at all these things in your way. There's no way you're going to overcome this. Those are the types of thoughts that I struggle with in the darkest period before the dawn of my manifestation. But anyway, once I overcame those few little glitches, it took about a week. I got the job and everything was seamless. Like, everything that I asked for was part of this new job. All of the criteria, all the circumstances were absolutely perfect. So again, if you get synchronicities, if everything falls into place, if you can see that you're headed directly for a big manifestation, something that you really have been wanting, and you put in the work mentally cleaning up your mental space to believe that you can have it, and you run into what seems like insurmountable challenges and you're so close, know that it's just the darkness before the dawn, and relax. Go do something that makes you feel good. Call a friend and talk about their life, or, you know, if you get a hunch, do something. But just know that it's all part of the process. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, despite my map talking to you in the background. And if you have experienced this darkness before dawn, go ahead and comment below and tell me about your experience. I'll talk to you guys soon.